Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to your online lecture series of EE222 Microprocessor Systems. This is the second lecture of week 14, your lecture number 41. And in this lecture, we are going to discuss the serial port programming of PIC18 microcontroller. We will be discussing both sending and receiving of data using the USART. And also, we will be discussing the LCD interfacing with PIC18 to display numbers, characters, and ASCII characters. And this lecture belongs to CLO number 5 of your course, that is Design and Analysis, Development of Code for Real-Life Applications. And this is our last topic of the code, interfacing of external peripheral devices using embedded C language. So let's start with what actually is serial communication. I have already given you an idea of serial communication. So this is the basic diagram of parallel interface versus serial interface. In parallel communication, we send the data, an 8-bit data for example, in parallel. So for 8 bits of data, we need 8 pins to send the data from one controller to another controller, from the transmitting side to the receiving side. In contrast, in case of serial interface, we need only one wire to send the data from the transmitting side to the receiving side, and we send the data bit by bit. We already discussed how the data serialization is done. We did it manually using the shift command and rotate command in the assembly language and in the C language also. And we get a waveform like this for sending and receiving of data. What we didn't cover in our data serialization lecture was the start and stop bit or the handshake portion of the data that is being sent. So for example, if there is an 8-bit data that needs to be sent from one side to another side, from one controller to another controller, there has to be some starting and ending portion of that data, and that portion has to be embedded at the start and end of the data, just like a frame. So that frame will represent that inside this frame there is one packet, and then the next frame will start and the next packet will be transferred, and one packet in this case is referring to 8-bit of data. To do it manually, what we can do is we can keep a count of the bits we have received, but that is a hectic process and that is an inefficient way. And to do it automatically inside the PIC microcontroller, just like for other tasks like timers, counters, ADC, and comparators and ECCP for PWM generation, we have dedicated peripherals for them. And similarly, we have a dedicated peripheral for serial communication also inside PIC18 microcontroller. What that peripheral does is that there is a dedicated register of that peripheral in which we copy our data that we need to send serially, and the baud rate selection and what will be the time duration of each bit, how many bits will be sent per second, what will be the start bit, what will be the start bit, and what should be the frame and what should be the handshake signal. Everything is decided by that peripheral, and that is configured just once by the user, and then we just start the peripheral and we don't need to do anything else. All we need to do is we will just keep copying our data to that register, and that register will automatically convert that 8-bit data into a serial data. It will do it by rotation or through flip-flops or whatever. We are not interested in the exact mechanism that is being used by that peripheral, but the bottom line is that peripheral helps us a lot, and we don't have to manually rotate that data and keep a count and include the handshake signals and so on. So that is very convenient way to communicate between two different devices. And today we are going to explore the EUSART, Enhanced Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter peripheral of the PIC18 microcontroller. So let's go to the datasheet of PIC microcontroller. Here the section 20 belongs to the Enhanced Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, EUSART. In today's lecture, for now we will be only interested in the asynchronous serial receiver transmitter. And here is the difference between asynchronous and synchronous mode. In synchronous mode, we will have only a half duplex communication. Half duplex mean we can either send a data or we can either receive a data. We cannot do that at once. So we have to set our microcontroller in master mode or slave mode, and that mode will be controlled by the second microcontroller. So if one microcontroller is acting in master mode, the second microcontroller has to operate in slave mode, and the data will be sent through one wire between them. So one will send and one will receive. They cannot send and receive at the same time. But in case of asynchronous mode, that is a full duplex mode, we will have two wires. One wire for sending the data, one wire for receiving the data, and there will be no master slave. So any of these two can initiate the sending or receiving. In case of synchronous mode, only the master can initiate either sending or receiving, and then the slave will either send or receive the data. They can send or receive. The slave can send data, the slave can receive data, the master can send data, the master can receive data. But initiation of anything will be done by the master only. But in case of asynchronous full duplex mode, initiation can be done by either of the two. So both of them will be acting as the masters, and we will have two lines connecting them, and we will send data by one pin and we will receive data by the other pin. So the RX, the reception pin of one microcontroller, will be connected to the TX, the transmission pin of the second microcontroller in cross, and then the TX of one microcontroller will be connected to the RX of the second microcontroller in cross. What we are going to see in this section 20 is how to configure our module to send or receive data. So we will only discuss the simple serial communication. There are many different protocols of serial communication. They include I2C communication, SPI communication, MSSP communication, UART communication. So today we are only interested in UART communication, the simple serial communication that is following the RS-232 protocol. RS-232 is a standard protocol that is used for serial communication. So we will not be discussing any other bits, flags related with the other modes. So there are many special function registers associated with this module, just like any other peripheral. The first SFR that is associated with the EUSART module is TXSTA, the Transmit Status and Control Register. So this is mainly used for setting the data transmission properties. And from that register, we will be using only these three highlighted bits. The TXCN, the transmission enable or disable bit. So if it is 1, the transmission will be enabled. If this is 0, the transmission will be disabled. Then the next pin is SYNC, the mode selection bit, that either we want to use the synchronous mode or asynchronous mode. So as I said earlier, we will use asynchronous mode, not synchronous mode. So we will set this bit to 0. And then from this register, finally only one bit, the third bit will be used, and that is BRGH, the high baud rate selection bit. So in asynchronous mode, if this bit is set to 1, high speed transmission will be selected. Otherwise, low speed transmission will be selected. We can use either of them, but there is just a difference of calculation between these two. So we can use either of them. I have done all my calculations while setting this BRGH to 1. So let's assume that we will only be using this bit as set to 1 in this lecture. And then the next two bits, we are not interested in that. Then the RCSTA, the Receive Status and Control Register, similar to the Transmit Control Register, we will use only 2 bits in this register, the SPEN, Serial Port Enable bit. So whenever we are going to use the serial port, whether in transmission mode or in reception mode, whenever we are going to use this module, we have to enable the serial port. And that is done by setting this pin to 1, this SPEN bit to 1, Serial Port Enable bit. You don't have to remember the name of this register or the position of this bit. You just have to remember the name of this particular bit only, and that can be addressed by its unique label. and that is very simple to remember because S stands for serial, P stands for port, EN stands for enable. So serial port enable bit. And then the second bit that we will be using from this register is the CREN, continuous receive enable bit. That will be enabled only if we are receiving the data. If we are not receiving the data, this bit must be set to 0. The receiver must be disabled, and this may result in error in contrary to the transmit enable bit. Why? Because the transmission will not start until and unless I copy my data to that particular register, to the serial register in which when I copy the data, the transmission will start. So I will most probably not copy the data accidentally in my code. I will do it by using a command, so I will not write a command accidentally by copying some data into that particular register. But if we are not expecting to receive a data, we have to disable it because the reception is not initiated by my microcontroller. The reception is initiated by the second microcontroller that is sending the data. So if we are not expecting to receive anything, we have to disable it, otherwise some garbage data can be received. And especially when an interrupt is enabled for the serial port, that can result in a lot of errors in the code. So always disable CREN whenever you are not expecting to receive any data. When we are using it in the reception mode, we will enable this. Then there is this baud con register, the baud rate control register. What is baud rate? Bits per second. How many bits per second we want to achieve? What should be the transmission rate or reception rate of the data? Data transmission rate. 8 bits per second, 12 bits per second, or so on. So the baud rates are fixed in RS-232 communication. In RS-232 protocol, we cannot set any arbitrary baud rate. There are specific values we can select from the table, and to make it compatible with any other device that is using the standard RS-232 protocol, we have to select from the available options of the bits per second or the baud rate. In PIC microcontroller, we are given an option to set our baud rate using an 8-bit baud rate generator register or a 16-bit baud rate generator register. And I am going to select the 8-bit generator mode because this is very simple for an 8-bit microcontroller. Because for a 16-bit baud rate generator, we have to use 2 registers. We all know that one register is only of 8-bit size. So for a 16-bit register, there have to be 2 registers that are concatenated to form a pseudo 16-bit register, just like shown here, SBPRGH and SBPRG. So these 2 registers combine to form a 16-bit register in that case. But in case of an 8-bit generator, we only have to send a value, send some value based on the calculation in one of these registers. And what is then the advantage of a 16-bit mode? It is more accurate. The baud rate generated by 16-bit generator is more accurate than the 8-bit generator. But in our case, we are not going to use it for some very sensitive applications. So we don't bother if there is a little bit of error in the baud rate. And let me tell you also that if there is a little bit of error in the baud rate, that is automatically corrected at each cycle by this module. So that will not result in error accumulation. The module will automatically keep correcting it after every cycle. So these are the 4 registers that we are interested in, but we are not going to send values into all these registers. Rather, we are going to use the specific bits that are of our interest. So the first thing that has to be considered while using the serial peripheral is what should be our baud rate, what should be our data transmission rate. So as I said that we will be using the asynchronous mode in which the SYNC pin would be 0. We will be using the BRGS 8. So this BRGS 16 will be 0, and we will be using the high speed mode. So BRGH should be equal to 1. So this category that is highlighted is of our interest, and in this case an 8-bit asynchronous mode will be selected for transmission and reception both, and the formula to calculate the baud rate for this particular case is written here. So F oscillator is our crystal oscillator frequency, that is 4 megahertz, we all know that, and that is divided by 16 into n plus 1. So what is n? N is the SBPRG register, the serial port baud rate generation register, that 8-bit register in which we are going to put some value to define a particular baud rate for our communication. So let's say for a baud rate of 9600, that is one of the standard values, if we put 25 inside the SBPRG, we will get a value of 9615. Now that is not exactly 9600, but as I said that it is the closest value to 9600, so we will select this, and the module will automatically correct that error for 15. So if we go down further, these bits that are highlighted, we will be using them, and this is the SBPRG register, that is an 8-bit register, and this chart shows the already calculated baud rates for asynchronous and synchronous modes. So these baud rates in kilo are the standard baud rates for an RS-232 communication protocol. 300 bps, 1200, 2400, 9600, 19200, 57600 and 1,15,200. These 7 are the standard baud rates for an RS-232 serial communication. We should not use any number beyond these, because then our device will not be able to communicate with any other microcontroller or any other device that is operating on a standard RS-232 communication protocol. And secondly, the device with which we are going to communicate should also be configured to use the same baud rate that we are going to set in our microcontroller. So for example, as we have chosen 9600 baud rate, our device with which we are going to communicate should also be configured in 9600 bits per second mode. Here in the highlighted part, this value, this table shows our desired configuration. Sync 0, BRGH1, BRG16 0, frequency is 4 megahertz, baud rate is 9600, so the actual rate is 9615, percentage error is 0.16%, and the SBPRG value that is to be loaded by the user into that register is 25. As I said that if we load the register with 25, we will get a baud rate of 9600. So 9600 bits will be transferred per second using this formula. So let's start writing a program to first send the data to some other microcontroller. Then the second program we will be writing will receive some data from another source, and then we will start the programming of an LCD, how to display something on an LCD, and finally we will receive some data from some other source and we will display that data on the LCD. So let's start coding. Let me open the MPLAB X. Here we are going to start writing our program. To send a data serially, what I want to do, what kind of data do I want to send? Normally I would like to send the data in ASCII characters because I want that data to be displayed somewhere to the user, so it is very easy for the user to read ASCII values, and ASCII values are characters just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers and the alphabets. So there is an ASCII value for each of these characters, and we will directly send the characters using the serial port. And where we are going to send those characters to a virtual port. So we will simulate it in Proteus using a virtual port. If I want to send only one character, I don't need a delay. But if I want to send multiple characters, I am going to generate some delay between each of those characters so that those characters keep displaying one by one on that virtual port. So for that, let's include a delay subroutine. I am going to copy the delay subroutine from my previous code and I am going to use a conventional for loop based delay subroutine. What else do we want? We want to set or configure our serial peripheral to send a data. So first of all, we want to enable our serial port in both sending or receiving. So SPEN serial port enable is equal to 1. Then next, what we want to do, we want to send a data. So we want to enable the transmission TXCN is equal to 1. Then whether we want to use this peripheral in synchronous or asynchronous mode, we want asynchronous mode. So SYNC is equal to 0, asynchronous mode. Then what we want to do, we want to set the baud rate to a higher high speed value. So BRGH high speed baud rate is equal to 1 for our calculation, and based on this, what value should be copied into the SPBRG register, serial port baud rate generator register? What value did we calculate? 25. And then the TXIF flag that was not included in those registers, the transmission interrupt flag, should be set to 0. This flag will tell us that your one packet of data is now completely transmitted. So until and unless this flag is not 0, we are not going to send the second packet of data, and we are not going to copy the second packet of data into our serial register. In this case, we set this bit to 0, then copy our data into the register from where it will be converted into a serial data, and it will be transmitted serially through the serial port through that pin, and it will take some time. And as soon as I copy my data into that register, this TXIF will remain 0, and once the data is completely transmitted, the TXIF flag will become 1, and that would indicate to us that now the transmission has finished. So now you can send the second packet, and then we will again set it to 0 and copy our next packet of data that we want to transmit. So first set this flag to 0 and then decide what kind of data we want to send. So inside the while one loop, we want to keep sending the data. TXIF is equal to 0 after each sending. So even if we don't write it here, it's okay. Then TXREG transmission register is equal to E. I am going to send an E to my serial pin. That E should be transmitted, and I have written it inside apostrophes, and this means that whatever ASCII character of this E character is, that will be transmitted. I don't have to remember the ASCII code of each character. So just write it inside apostrophes and it will automatically be converted into an ASCII data. As soon as I have loaded this TXREG register with any data, transmission will start. And now I have to wait until the transmission is finished. So while TXIF is equal to 0, wait here and then give a delay, ms delay 1000. So 1 second delay, and then start transmission again. So let's copy this, EE222 and 1 dash. So what I want to send on the serial port continuously is EE-222, and this EE222 will be repeatedly sent on the serial port, and it should be visible in our virtual serial receiver in Proteus. So I think this code is finished. let's try to build it. The build is successful. Now let's open the Proteus. Ignore the LCD for now. We have connected a virtual terminal. You can find it here in the virtual instruments on the left panel, and I have just copied the virtual terminal and placed it here. I have connected the RX of this terminal to the TX of the microcontroller and TX of this terminal to the RX of the microcontroller. And once I simulate this, you can see here EE-222. Again EE-222. So these characters are now being sent serially from this microcontroller to this terminal at a baud rate of 9600 via just one pin. The second pin is not being used right now. So using this, you can send any data serially from one device to another device. In the next code, what we want to do is we want to receive a data instead of sending it. So let's write a program for receiving the data. Let's just modify this program to receive a data. Initial configurations are similar. SPEN is 1. Instead of TXEN, we will enable CREN, continuous receive enable. SYNC is equal to 0, BRGH is equal to 0, baud rate is same. And while 1, now this loop will be changed. While 1, what we want to do? Always be ready to receive the data. And whenever the data is received, just send that data to port D. That will be displayed in binary number. So we will verify whether the data is being sent correctly or not. So if we want to display our data on port D, we have to set port D to as an output. This D is equal to 0. Now when will I know that the data is received? Similar to the transmission interrupt flag, I have an RCIF, receive interrupt flag. So whenever this flag is automatically set to 1 by my peripheral, by my hardware module, that will indicate that you have received some data in your reception register. So what I have to do is I will just manually check the status of this flag while RCIF is equal to 0. Wait here. Keep waiting until this flag becomes 1. And as soon as this flag becomes 1, this means that now the data reception is complete. One packet of data has been received. And where that packet of data will be placed? In RCReg, receive register, similar to TXReg, the transmit register. And where I want to display this received data on port D. So port D is equal to RCReg. So this is a very simple program for receiving of the data. Let's try to build it, and again let's simulate it in Proteus. So now I have to send this data through this terminal now. So I am going to write A on this port, A, B, C, D, E. You can see that nothing is being displayed here. That is the property of the terminal. So whatever I type in this terminal is not displayed, but something is being received and something is being displayed on this port. Whenever I press a button, you can see that these values are changing. So let me press A here. When I press A, port D shows 0100 0001. That is 41 hexa. And let's see what is the ASCII code in hexadecimal for the character capital A. So let me find ASCII table. If I open the ASCII table, I can see here that the character A has a decimal value of 65. And if I convert 65 decimal into hexadecimal, that is 41. And that is what we are receiving on our port. Let me open the calculator here. Let's see here. 65 in decimal is equal to 41 in hexadecimal. This is what we already have received on our port. Let me open that tab again and let's see what is the character for, let's say, T. T is 84 decimal, and in hexadecimal what it should be, 84 decimal is equal to 54 hexadecimal. So let me open this Proteus and let me send T. This should be 54, 0101 that is 5 and 0100 that is 4. So we are correctly receiving the data from our virtual serial terminal to the microcontroller, and in the microcontroller we are displaying this data in binary on our port D. So this is a very powerful peripheral for communication between multiple devices with sensors, for sending data to various computer or control systems or any other system. One more thing to add here is that we are polling this flag or checking this flag RCIF manually here, and also we were manually checking the flag TXIF in our previous program. But as in case of all other peripherals of PIC18, this serial port also have an interrupt option. So if you enable interrupt for this serial port, an interrupt will come whenever there is a data reception or whenever there is a data transmission. In both cases, an interrupt will come if the interrupt is enabled for the serial port. You cannot enable it for only reception or only transmission. So whenever it is enabled for the whole serial port, for the whole serial peripheral, it will be enabled for both reception and transmission. So any of occurrence of any of these two events will result in an interrupt, and that will be handled just like any other peripheral interrupt. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to try to display something on this LCD. You can see here that this LCD has multiple pins. D0 to D7, those are data pins. VSS, VDD and VEE, those are power pins. And RS, RW enable, register select, read write and enable pin. So we are going to send some specific combination of data on these 3 pins and these 8 pins. And first we are going to send commands to this LCD to configure it in a certain mode, and then we are going to send some data that is to be displayed on this LCD. So we cannot just send some data on an LCD and it will be displayed. No, it is a bit complex than that. We first have to configure this LCD, because this LCD itself has some kind of mini microcontroller inside that, and it has to be configured in a certain mode to display any data that is received afterwards. So first we are going to configure this LCD, and next we are going to send data to this LCD that will be displayed on that. So let's see how to configure this LCD. In your Mazidi's book in chapter 12, this table 2.2 lists the LCD command codes, and these command codes are valid for most of the LCDs, the 16x2 LCDs, the 20x2 LCDs, the 16x1 LCDs, 20x4 LCDs, 16x4 LCDs. So most of the LCDs of this category, they have these same command codes. What is a 16x2 LCD? What is a 20x4 LCD? 16 means how many characters are there, how many boxes are there in one line, and cross 2 means there will be 2 lines. So 16x2 means that 16 characters can be displayed in one line, and there are 2 lines of 16 characters. Similarly, a 20x4 LCD means there are 20 different characters in each line, and there are 4 lines of 20 characters. So here we have an LCD of 16x2 lines. Then each character is further something similar to this highlighted portion here. There are multiple dots that make up one character. So this is a dot matrix display, and any type of character can be displayed by using different combinations of these dots. But we don't have to select manually which dot has to be turned on and which dot has to be turned off to display anything. We will just configure it once by sending these commands, and it will automatically set the matrix size. For example, here you can see in the last line, the command code number 38 will configure this LCD in a 2-line mode, and each character will consist of a 7x5 dot matrix. There will be 35 dots inside that, and that's it. We don't have to do any further configuration of that particular character. We have to send some other commands also. Which of these commands we will be using is, we have to clear the display screen initially, we have to increment the cursor, and rather it is increment cursor after every character reception. So it is enable increment cursor. If we do not enable this, what will happen is, we will send one data, it will be displayed on the first character. When we will send the second data, it will be overwritten on the first character. The cursor will not move forward. What we want is, we send the first data, it is displayed on first character. Then when we send the second data, it should automatically be displayed on the second character, not the first character. So this 06 command will enable the increment of cursor, the automatic increment of cursor after the reception of each data, each character. Then what else we will be using is display on 0x0E and cursor blinking. So we want to turn on our display or turn off our display. Obviously we want to turn on our display, and we can turn on the cursor or not. What we want is, we want the display on and the cursor blinking, so that we know the current position of cursor. We can turn off the cursor, that is also fine, but we are going to keep it on and keep it blinking so that we know right now at which position the cursor is. Then what else we want to do, we want to use from these? I think these are enough. Clear display, increment cursor enable, display on cursor blinking, and force cursor to the beginning of first line. Also the cursor position can be changed. As we are going to use 16x2 LCD, there are 2 lines, so we can move the cursor one by one by sending characters, or we can just jump from one line to another line. For example, there are 16 characters that can be displayed in first line, but we only want to display 4 characters in first line and then move on to the second line. So what we can do is, we can force the cursor to start from the first line, from the beginning of the first line, send those 4 characters, and then send this command, and the cursor will be forced to the beginning of the second line, and so on. Now, how to send a command and how to send a data to this LCD, how to configure it, and after configuration how to send the data. One thing is very clear, that we have to select between whether we are sending command or whether we are sending data by using these 3 pins, because they are the same. These are the data pins. Whether we are going to send something as a command or something as a data, that will be decided by these 3 pins. So this RW pin, this is the read write pin. We can read this LCD also, what is currently on that LCD, but we are not interested in that. So what we are going to do, we are going to just permanently set this pin to 0 in the write mode only. We are not going to read it. The rest of the 2 pins, register select. Which register? Now this pin decides whether we are going to write a command into that LCD or we are going to write a data into the LCD. There is a separate register inside this LCD for command. There is a separate register inside this LCD for data. So to whichever register we write that information that is currently available on these 8 pins will be deciding that whether this information will be considered as a command or as a data. So if we put some value on these pins and we enable the command register, this data will be transferred to the command register, and that command will be executed for the configuration of this LCD. And if we put some information on these 8 pins and select the data register, that will be considered as, that information will be considered as the data, and that data will be displayed on this LCD. and when it will be displayed and when the command will be executed, not immediately after putting this data on through these pins. This last pin, this enable pin, this should be given a transition from high to low. Every high to low transition on this pin will transfer the information on these pins into one of the commands or data registers. So what all we have to do essentially is we have connected these pins to port B, these 8 data pins to port B, and we have connected this RSRW enable pins to port E012. All we have to do is we will send some value on this port B. We will set the status of this bit, and then we are going to send a pulse, a transition on this enable pin, and that command will be executed or that data will be displayed. So first off, we are going to configure this. So we will send some 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commands for initial configuration of this LCD, and then we will start sending data to this LCD. So let's open the MPLAB and let's start programming. So we will start with an empty program again. First, define some variables. Hash define LCD data port B. We have connected our data pins to port B. Then hash define RS let E2 because we are writing to that port. Hash define RW to let E1 and hash define EN to let E0. We have given other labels to these special function bits and special function registers. Then let's define our variables. Int data is equal to 0, 0. Now this is a 0 character. Whatever ASCII code of this character is, that will be stored in the variable data, and I can write unsigned character data. Then int x is equal to 0, and then this is our delay subroutine that we will be using in our program. I have to make 2 more functions: void LCD CMD, LCD command, and the data type of this will be unsigned character value, and similarly void LCD data, and that also has a data type of unsigned character value. So we will make these functions in the end. Let's go to the main routine and let's see what we have to do in the main subroutine or the main function. We have to make tris B as an output, port B as an output port, that we know. Also we have to make tris E as an output port because to these pins our LCD connections are made. So these 2 ports should be declared as output ports. But let me tell you here that tris E is by default configured as analog input. So just setting tris E to 0 will not configure it as digital IO. We discussed it for port C also. And how we converted the port C from analog inputs to digital IOs? By writing to the addCon register. And if we open the addCon register here, addCon1 register, and this table will define that which pins are configured as analog pins and which pins are configured as digital pins. Right now we are not interested in any analog input, so we will configure all of them as digital IOs. So let's move addCon1 with a value of 0B00001111. This will configure the port E as a digital IO and then set it as an output port. Now for initialization of the LED, we have to give a 0 to the enable and wait for about 15 milliseconds. So I am giving a delay of 50 milliseconds instead of 15 just to be on the safe side. This is required for LCD initialization. After this, we have to start configuring this LCD for the first time so that we are going to be able to send data to it later. So let me send LCD CMD with a value of 0 cross 38 and give a delay of, let's say, 5 milliseconds afterwards. What it will do is it will send 0 cross 38 as a command. How it will send it as a command, I will write this subroutine later. So let's assume this LCD CMD function is already there. So this 0 cross 38 will now be considered as a command to that LCD. And what this 0 cross 38 means, setting the mode of the LCD into 2 lines and 5 cross 7 matrix. So this is the first thing we have to do. We have to do it in a sequence. We cannot send these commands randomly. First off, we have to select the mode of that LCD. Then secondly, what we want to do is we have to turn on the display. So we will send a command of 0 cross 0E, and that will set the display on and set the cursor to blinking. Then what next? Whatever was there on the display, we have to clear it. So for clearing the display, what is the command? We can search here 01. So we will send 0 cross 01 as a command to that LCD. Then what next? After clearing the display, what we want to do? We have to enable the automatic increment of the cursor once one packet of data is received. So let's send 0 cross 06, and then finally what we want to do? We want to set the position of the cursor to line 1, and that would be done by using 0 cross 80 as the command. So at this point, the initial configuration of LCD is done. Now we are ready to start sending the data to the LCD. What kind of data do you want to send to that LCD? Let's send a data of EE222 microprocessor systems, but for that I have to change this single character into an array. So let me change it to an array. EE222 microprocessor systems. So this is an array of about 30 characters. We should display 16 of them on one line and the rest of them on the second line. So let's send this using a loop. For I is equal to 0 to I is less than 15, I plus plus, and inside this for loop I have to send this array one by one, character by character, to my LCD. So I will write LCD data, and inside that I will write data I. Ith value of data should be sent to the LCD as a data, and a delay of 200 milliseconds should be given after sending each data. So what will happen here is it will send the character number 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 15 using this loop on the first line, and then I have to send another command after finishing this loop. So I have to send a command to the LCD to shift the cursor to the second line. And what was the command for that? 0 cross C0. So let's change it to 0 cross C0. Then the cursor will be shifted to the second line, and then copy this loop again to send the rest of the data to the second line. But here the I will start from 15 and it will go up to 30, because we have already reached up to 15th position of this array. Now what's left is to make these two functions, LCD CMD, void LCD CMD, and inside that what we had, unsigned character value. So let's see what should be inside this function. Inside the LCD command subroutine, we want to send this data as command to our LCD, And what did I tell you how to do that? We have to first send that value. L data is equal to value. We first have to send this number to the port. First we have to send this number to the port so that it comes on these 8 data pins. So here I am passing on this value 0 cross 0 1 to this function, and this function is receiving it as the character value. So the value is sent to the port. The L data is our port B. So now this value is sent to my port. What else I have to do? I have to select the command register so that whatever value is received on these pins is written to the command register. And how do I do that? By setting the RS pin to 0. Then I said that a high to low transition on enable will finally perform these tasks. So En is equal to 1, then give a delay of like 2 milliseconds, and then set the enable back to 0. So I set enable pin to 1, kept it 1 for 2 milliseconds, and then when I turned it off again, that high to low transition on the enable pin will actually perform that operation, and then I will return from this loop. And similarly the same thing will happen for the LCD data subroutine. But in this case I have to set the RS to 1. Everything else is same. And I told you that we have to set the RW is equal to 0 because we are always writing to the LCD, we are not reading it. So I think our code is complete now. Let's try to compile it. Compilation is successful, build is successful. Now if we simulate this code in Proteus, you can see here that EEEE microprocessor systems is being displayed on the LCD, and it will keep displaying that because I have not stopped my program anywhere. So after completing this, it will start again from the beginning. The program will start again from the beginning, not this loop. So the whole program will keep repeating if I don't stop the program using a while one command. But let's rotate this data towards left continuously using a while one loop. Let's make it a bit more interesting, and let's see what is the command for that. So shift the entire display to left or shift the entire display to right. We have two commands for that. So if I send one of these commands continuously on our to our LCD, our display will be continuously shifted to one side. Let's try to do that. LCD CMD 0 cross 1C, and let's see, give a delay of 50 millisecond after that, and keep doing it after sending the data. So what should happen is our data, after being displayed completely, it should keep rotating on the LCD. Let's see if it works. See here. Now for some of the time the LCD is blank because the registers inside this LCD are of 40-bit size. Only the display in some cases has 16 characters, in some cases has 20 characters, in some cases has 40 characters in one line, but the internal registers are same for all of them, and that's why the same code works on all of them. So this blank portion means that those blank registers are now being displayed onto the LCD. So our program is working pretty fine. Now let's do the last thing. Let's include a serial receive code within this program. Let's receive some data serially and display it on the LCD. Whatever is received should be displayed on the LCD. And how to do that? We have to configure the serial port also. So let's go to the main subroutine in the configuration portion. Tris B and Tris E, these configurations are good. SPEN, SYNC, BRGH, these three, these should be copied here. These are the configurations that I copied from my serial receive code, and I have just pasted them to enable the serial reception using the serial peripheral of PIC18. Now the serial reception is enabled. The initialization of LCD will be done just like previously, and now what we are going to do is we are not going to display our data or any data we desire onto the LCD. Rather, we are going to receive that data from our serial port. So let me copy the same code here also. While RCIF is equal to 00, LCD data is equal to RCreg. So now what will happen is I have configured my serial port for reception, continuous reception. I have configured and initialized my LCD, and now I am waiting inside this loop infinitely, and I am waiting to receive any data, and as soon as any data is received, I am sending it on to the LCD port, and I am setting the RCIF is equal to 0 again. So let's build this program and let's simulate it in Proteus. This is our LCD and this is our serial port. Now see, the LCD is blank, the cursor is there, nothing is displayed. But let me write EE dash 222 dash lecture 41. See, whatever I am typing inside that virtual terminal is being displayed in real time on the LCD. So this is it. I think you can receive or transmit data using the built-in serial peripheral of the microcontroller, and you can select different baud rates to send or receive the data, and you can display any information on or any messages or characters on this LCD. So our peripheral interfacing, external and internal, both is completed, and our portion for PIC microcontrollers is completed in this lecture. What's left for this course is just one lecture regarding some advanced architectures. That will be more of a general information than a technical lecture, and then we will have 3 live sessions at the place of lecture number 43, 44 and 45. And in those 3 live sessions, I will take your questions and I will answer them and I will solve your queries, inshallah. So congratulations, your course for the microcontroller, the official course of microcontroller, is completed in this lecture, and wish you all the best and hope to see you in the live sessions now. So take good care of yourself, stay safe. Allah Hafiz.